I've been asked to present to explain the BIM-MEPAUS process from a manufacturer's perspective. We became we became involved in the development of this program through the Pump Industry Australia. The PIA were approached by the AMCA to set up a subcommittee to work in collaboration with other pump manufacturers, members of the contractor and consultant fraternity, as well as software developers and steering members from the AMCA. The pump development work group was one of the first work groups to be established. We've regularly met over the last few months, and through collaboration with these other stakeholders and specialists in their field, we have been able to make very positive steps forward, helping the AMCA to establish the level and structure of interaction that's required from pump manufacturers and manufacturers in general to create the structure and workflows and streamline the process for future working groups across other product areas required by BIM-MEPAUS. The AMCA has done an absolutely outstanding job, not only today but during those work groups, to give us a thorough explanation and understanding of the background and the reasons for developing this process, explaining the reasons to the manufacturers as to why BIM-MEPAUS is a necessity and the next logical step forward for BIM modelling in the future, highlighting many of the benefits to our customers, most of you guys in here today, for developing this process. It is quite clear that the value that BIM-MEPAUS adds through cost reduction in your design, whether that be tender or whether it be contract design, that if we want to work with the contractors and consultants of the future, that we need to be involved in making this happen. As you can imagine, some of the discussion that we've had has revolved around the cost that would be incurred by manufacturers and suppliers of pumps and other products, and the control of these costs to cover model creation and model content hosting in the future. Although the value, as I said before, is created for our customers through our involvement, the value that's created far outstrips these costs that would ultimately probably have to be passed on through procurement of our product. As pump suppliers, we're very mindful that whilst we work in a healthy but highly competitive market, we don't want to disadvantage ourselves financially versus those suppliers that choose not to invest. Although we've and a lot of assurances that would not happen, obviously we are still working on the structure of these costs and moving forward protection of intellectual property through the creation and review of preliminary content development and hosting agreements. Very much a work in progress, but we are moving forward positively. Moving on to the technical aspects of our model content development workshops, one of the reasons why the pump working group was one of the first working groups to be established is the range of end suction back pull-out pumps. This is a pump that's been used in Australia for the last 25 years and by design complies to a set of dimensional standards that is very much echoed from one pump manufacturer to the next, with only minor dimensional variations for motor sizes, etc. So there is a defined range of about 40 to 50 pump sizes, dependent on manufacturer, with each of these models having a number of configurable variants for motors, bringing the total number of variants to about 400 for the ISO 2858 range and a similar number for the DIN 733 range. This meant by generating a limited number of BIM-MEPAUS models, we would be able to cater for any pump manufacturer that wishes to invest, thus reducing the costs by sharing these across each manufacturer involved. Key to creating these models was establishing the attributes required to define the model. There are a number of fixed dimensions controlled by the ISO and EN standards, as we discussed, and a number of variable dimensions, which is supply dependent. We also needed to establish what level of detail is required within the model. This is key to the process. Danger is we overpopulate the model with excessive data, the model file size becomes unmanageable, and much of the data is superfluous. Conversely, too little detail, the model doesn't integrate as a BIM model should. These, I'm told, are many of the problems seen in BIM of today. By working as a team with all the stakeholders, we established an industry best practice model combined with an attached equipment schedule with fields that Jeff just ran through for design data that would generally be filled in by the consultants, a field for performance requirements, installed pump data, and a field for all the commissioning schedule. This gives complete life traceability of the pump procurement from design to commissioning, cradle to grave, that can be stored for future reference. So in conclusion, we have come a long way over the last few months with some initial BIM-MEPAUS models created using industry best practice. We've a preliminary model content creation and hosting proposal, which we're currently reviewing. What is very important to remember is at this stage the work groups are developing and testing the process and the workflows. To do that, we're using the end suction back pull out for the reasons we've mentioned as very much as a guinea pig. But as a manufacturer, we need to understand our role and in this process and gain a good understanding of the control and of the costs of this process for the future. It's very clear as we move forward that there are all sorts of different pump applications and available pump models that will need to be incorporated into the BIM-MEPAUS of the future, covering also not only the mechanical side but the plumbing side, so cold water boosting, wastewater, sewage, hot water circulation, diesel fire pumps, recycled water, disinfection packages, etc. There's also constant innovation in pump design and pump controls, so driven by the green building agenda and the desire for better efficiencies and lack of plant room space, etc. So we must ensure that we understand that as we bring these new models into the country, that we are in control of the cost of the development of those future models, and make it attractive, make the BIM-MEPAUS system attractive to other manufacturers across all product groups. That's it. Thank you.